Hi, I'm Colin from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of the Swift Escape Compact 404. Right. So starting the walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first. This is where you'd fill the vehicle with water for your freshwater system. So using the habitation key, which is the round head one, it's got the Swift logo on, you'll be able to lock and unlock this cap. And what you need to do is you need to go and get yourself a hose pipe that's never been used in the garden, so go and buy yourself a brand new one with some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site. Pop the flat end of the hose into the vehicle, connect the hose to your tap on site, fill it until it either overflows or until you're happy you do have enough water on board. If you can't get water to the vehicle via a hose pipe, and you can bring it in a bucket, an aqua roll, a drum, there is a point here which is just a 12-volt pin point where you can put the power for a pump in there, put the pump in the water and the other end into here, and it will suck the water out of that container into the vehicle. Underneath it you do have your drain off point for your fresh water. So this is a drain off point and it is electric, so the switch is inside and it's electronic dump, so you get rid of your water in the winter or when you're not using the vehicle to prevent it from freezing, especially in the winter, as you wouldn't want it to freeze. Down here you've got your grey one. This is your dirty water, so this is any water you've put down the plug hole, dishes water, hand basin water, sink water. On the way out of your site you do want to drain this off, because there's no real reason why you should be driving around with waste water. It's going to add extra weight to the vehicle and impact on your diesel consumption, so just allow that out over the wastewater drain off, which normally is a hole in the ground or a grated area where you would just drop the waste. Here you do have your cassette locker, so again opens with a Swift key, opens the door, and there you have a full-size cassette. To get the cassette out you need to lift the orange handle and slide it out of the vehicle. You can then either carry it or you can wheel it to your disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. And then to empty, remove the grey cap, press the orange button, tip the content of the cassette out. Once you've tipped it out, put some water in there, give it a rinse and tip out again. And then once you've tipped it out and you've rinsed it, you then want to go in with a cap full, which is 120 ml of chemical. So this can either be the blue or the green, into here, and then it's good to go back into the motorhome and be used. But remember, pop your chemical in there before you use it. In the back here you do have your mains 230-volt connection point. So this is your hookup point. So if you were charging the motorhome a few days before you go away, or you are on a site and you've paid for your hookup, you get your hookup lead, lift the collar, lift the flap on the van and slide it on there. Hook the motorhome up first, then the power source, and do it in reverse order when unhooking, so that you're never walking around with a live lead. That's your flue for your boiler, so that just gives an indication that the boiler is behind there. So if you want to find your boiler, it's behind there. High level brake light, and then you've got your twin lens reversing camera. Dual bike rack on the back. So pull it down. These chocks move along the rail depending on how big your bike is, and then you'll want to strap these through the spokes and pull the wheels into the chocks. And then these just clip on your crossbars, and then what we'd do then advise is putting some sort of bike lock around it, just to stop the bikes from being stolen if the van was left unattended with the bikes on the back. Reversing sensors along the bottom, and you do have a tow bar. So tow bar with 13-pin electrics there if you plan on towing anything. F45 Fiamma awning, which we can show you when you collect. Fridge vents, but this is an important locker. This is your LPG, so this is your gas locker. So in here you can fit two 6 kilogram propane gas bottles. So this is our test bottle which we've got on now to test your gas appliance. What you do is, once you put a bottle in, before you attach this pipe here, which is known as the pigtail, there's a strap, and it looks like this. So what you would do is, that would go over the top of the bottle, and this plastic U-shaped ring will go round the top of the bottle, connect to this one and hold it in place, and then you can connect your pigtail. So to connect your pigtail, you'll need an adjustable wrench or a gas spanner. It's a left hand thread with it being gas, so left to tighten, right to loosen, so hand tighten, then nip it up, then turn your cylinder on from the top and press the black button to allow the gas through the valve into the vehicle. And that's how you would operate your gas system, remembering to turn it off before you do start traveling, so that you're a lot safer when you're on the road if your gas is isolated. Habitation doors off the key as well, and then you do have your diesel filler at the passenger door, which opens with the main Fade to Cato key. Tyre pressures here, so 5 bar on the front, which is 72.3 psi, and 5.5 bar on the back, which is 79.5 psi. Engine battery is underneath this compartment here in the floor, so you can lift that compartment out and gain access to the engine battery. Toolkit is underneath the passenger seat, and your bonnet release is on the side of the passenger side of the dashboard. So you pull that and you'll be able to have a quick look under your bonnet. So the main one you're going to need is your screen wash, which is here, and then you can lift this cover here with the 3 tabs, and you've got your power steering fluid and your coolant, followed by your brake fluid, oil filler and dipstick for checking your levels. Paint codes on this sticker here. And then should you ever need to give or receive a jump start off the motorhome, or receive a jump start, you'd earth off here, this one there, just got a sticker there, and then between your air filter and the passenger headlight there's this square box here. Pop the key or something flat like a screwdriver in the side and lift this up, and that is the positive contact just there for giving or receiving a jump start, as the battery is underneath the cab floor. So now on board the vehicle, above the habitation door you've got your main Swift control panel, so you can turn on and off by pressing the Swift logo, which is your 12-volt master switch on and off. So if you're hooked up, you'll get mains 240 volt. If you're not, you'll just get 12 volt. And here you can see that you are hooked up, so you've got your energy symbol, which means it's on mains power and it's charging the leisure battery. And you can view both battery levels there, but I'll show you how else you can view them. So starting off from the left hand side, you've got your pump, so you can turn your pump on and off should you have enough water on board, and you need to have your pump on to operate your taps, toilet, shower and external shower. So that'll pressurize the water through the system when turned on. If it isn't turned on, you'll just get whatever's left in the lines and it'll soon fade away. Next you do have your awning light, which is the light on the outside of the motorhome. And then you've got your lights that are on the inside of the motorhome. So you've got your dimmer levels, the dimmer 1 and dimmer 2, so you can set them, change them, and you can turn them on and off. And then they all are individually switched around the vehicle. You've got power, so you can view your leisure battery reading, and you can see it's charging as it's got the charging symbol. Take the hookup out to get a true reading of your batteries, as on hookup it will give a false reading because your charger's then putting more power in. You've got your solar panel, which will go to sleep when the vehicle is hooked up, because hookup's bringing in a bigger voltage that the solar panel can't compete with. And then you've got your vehicle battery here as well. And you always want to make sure that your selected battery is your leisure. If that's ever your vehicle, change it back to your leisure, because then the motorhome is running off the van battery and not the leisure battery, which the leisure battery is designed to work the habitation area. You've got your water levels, so you can see that we've got 50% fresh water, 0 waste. And then down here you've got a few buttons. So you've got tank heaters, which you can turn on and off, so they'll put current through the water if it's potentially going to freeze overnight. You'd want to pop them on just so that the water does not freeze once the temperatures drop to sub-0 degrees overnight. The water isn't going to be frozen when you walk up. You've got level alerts, so once that goes so far down, it will beep the panel just to say it's time to refill, or when the waste is full, it's time to empty the waste. And you've got frost alerts, so when the control panel notices that it's dropped in temperature outside, it will give you a frost alert, which means that you either need to empty the water or you need to put your tank heaters on so that the water doesn't freeze. And then the last 2 buttons, you've got empty the fresh, confirm you want to empty it, empty the waste, confirm you want to empty that. And they are just 12 volt electric dumps on the waste and the fresh. You've got heating, which is through this panel here, but you can operate it through here, so you can adjust your temperature on here. And you can choose the energy, so you've got gas and electric. Gas and electric on 2 kilowatts, so the 2 just means 1500 watts of electric and gas, which is equivalent to 2 kilowatts and gas. And then you've got electric on 750 watts, 1 kilowatt, and electric on 1500 watts, 2 kilowatts. You can turn your water on and off, eco, hot or boost. So eco is 40 degrees and hot is 60 degrees if heating your water through there, but I'll show you how to do it through here, because you'll probably never use this way, you'll probably use it this way. You've got your radio, so you can turn your radio on from here. Once you've turned the radio on by itself, you can then operate it from the panel. And then you've got the fridge. So you've got your temperature of the fridge, 5 being the coldest. And you've got the mode of the fridge. So you've got off if you want the fridge off. You've got auto, which means it'll skip between these 3 sources here. So gas, 12 volt, 230 volt. So whatever it's got to offer, automatic on the auto will switch between it. So if you hooked up and you've got your gas open, it'll go to hook up because it knows not to waste your gas. If you start the engine, it'll go to 12 volt, and all that does is changes the fridge into a cool box to keep the temperature the same. So you've got to pre-chill it beforehand at home, or if you've been to one site and you're ready to travel to another, if it's on auto and you've turned the engine on, it'll automatically go to 12 volt and keep your shopping nice and fresh until you arrive at your next site. Or if you stop the engine, it'll go to gas. But please note, when the engine's switched off, it waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas, so you might just have to manually come in and just press gas. And you'd use gas if you were wild camping and had no other energy source available. But just leave it on auto, it'll do its own thing, but make sure that you turn it off. And then when you are finished with the fridge, just leave the door open to stop any mold and bacteria from forming in the fridge when not using the vehicle after you've cleaned it out. To operate your Truma CP control panel. So you press and hold along, press and hold to turn on and off the panel. If you press, you can get into the menu, and you'll notice in the top left hand corner you put a motorhome with a thermometer. I know on the picture it looks like it's flickering, it's not, it's just this camera. So you can adjust the temperature of the vehicle from off all the way to 30 degrees, and that's the heat inside the motorhome. And then moving on, you've got your water, so make sure that your boiler's closed and you do have water on board. You can turn it from off to eco, which is 40 degrees of heat in that 10 litre water container in your boiler. Hot, 60 degrees, and boost, which will turn off the heating and prioritise the water first. So we'll just say hot, 60 degrees of heat in your water. And then you've got your energy source, so whether it's gas if you're wild camping and you had no other means of heating the vehicle or the water. Mixture 1, which is 750 watts of electric and gas together. Mixture 2, which is 1500 watts of electric and gas together. So you'd use mix 2 in the winter when you're in desperate need of heating the water or heating the vehicle, so that you're not sitting in a cold vehicle. And you'd use that for the first 10-15 minutes, and then you want to turn it off mixture 2 because you wouldn't want to waste your gas any longer. And you can put it onto electric. So you've got EL1, which is 750 watts of electric, and EL2, which is 1500 watts of electric. So normally on most sites you just use EL2, depending on what the amperage the site gives you. Press enter to save that, as you don't want to waste your gas. If you've paid for your site fees, use their electric. In the top right you've got the fan speed, so you've got eco, high or boost. So eco takes a smaller 12 volt feed and is a lot quieter on an evening if you're trying to sleep. High obviously uses a little bit more fan speed, so it's a little bit more louder, but it'll get the circulation of the heat around the van a lot quicker. And then boost is just flat out on the fan speed, the max it can be at, and it'll boost the heat around the vehicle. So for this we'll just say high, and then you do have a timer, so you can time it to come on and off. When the clocks go back and forth you can adjust the time. And then should you get a warning triangle in the middle, you can go to the spanner setting in the bottom, which is your settings. Go to reset, press preset, and it will reset this control panel. And then you'll also notice that you've got your electric bed drop down switch here, so make sure that the key's turned on, and then you can bring the bed up and down, but make sure the seatbelt is disconnected before you do press the switch, otherwise the switch won't work, because this is a safety cutout. And then before you travel, clip it back in so that the bed has a second catch on the seatbelt for safety. So in the kitchen area, got your light switch there and two 230 volt sockets when hooked up, and you can pop your wires through here, so you can just pull these off. They're just plastic. Pop your wires through as they are a wire tidy. You've got an extension worktop for when you're using the worktop area, so you've got extra space there. And then all you need to do is press these two and fold it back down. Cutlery drawer is just above there to the large drawer beneath it. You've got your Dometic fridge. So this fridge is 3-way. So to operate your Dometic fridge, it's a 3-way fridge. So you've got mains hookup on 230 volt, you've got gas, and you've got the picture of the battery, which isn't your leisure battery. It's a feed off the engine battery when the vehicle is physically running. So the engine's got to be switched on for that one, and all it does is it's designed to keep the temperature of the fridge chilled when you're traveling. So you've pre-chilled it at home, or you've pre-chilled it and you've been on a site and you're ready to drive to another site. It'll keep the temperature nice and fresh until you arrive back on a site and either hook back up or switch over to gas. So if you want to switch them over, it's this button here. So you can go from mains to 30 volt. Battery, it's failed because the engine's not running at the present. Gas, when the bottle needs to be turned on, and you'd use this for wild camping. Or like I've said, you'd use 230 volt if you're pre-chilling it or if you're on a site. This is your temperature, so 5 when pre-chilling. Once you put your shopping in, just drop it down to 3 or 4 because sometimes it is enough to freeze the fridge. And then when you're not using the van, if you allow the door to stay open, take everything out and then leave the door open. So little toggle here, so press it in, slide it out, these pins will pop out, and then when you rest the door upon it, the door won't shut and you'll get air circulation in and out of the fridge to stop the smells from forming in your motorhome. Your microwave is a 800 watt microwave which works on mains power, so make sure that you're hooked up for this to work. And then you do have the plug for the microwave. You've got your solar panel charge controller there, a sink cover which also acts as a drainer, cup rack and a plate rack in the cupboard. In the kitchen you've got 3 gas burner rings, so you've got 3 gas rings there. Allow them to cool before you do put the cooker hood down, because sometimes it can be too hot and it can crack them. And then below we've got an oven at the bottom, and then above you do have your grill. You may want to take your grill pan and oven shelf out while travelling because it can cause a little bit of vibration and rattling when on the road, or wrap them up in tea towels. Large drawer there, and then a cupboard underneath. And you do have this side some gas isolation valves. It tells you there which colour does which item. If there's any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. In the washroom you've got your shower head, which is actually your hand basin tap as well. So you can pull this out and pop it up there. Pull it out, clips up there for the shower, and then you just press the back and you'll be able to work the tap, making sure that the pump's on and you get a pressurised flow of water. Then if you just feed the hose back down the stem of the tap and it'll slot back in. Toiletry cabinet and shower curtain. For when you have a shower you can block off the toilet so that the toilet doesn't get wet. And then to use the toilet, the blue button at the back is your freshwater flush. So we always say press the button, flush the toilet first. Put a little bit of water in the toilet because it helps lubricate the seal between the top of the toilet and the top of the cassette box. Then what you want to do is you want to open that before you then proceed to use the toilet. So this is the grey lever. This opens the blade. Push it to the right away from you. Now you can use the toilet because it's open fully. Everything's going to go into the cassette, and then you're going to give it a good flush after use, and then you want to slide this back towards you, which shuts off the cassette. So then if it indicates that it is full, which it will here, with a light, you can pull the cassette straight out the side of the van and go and take it to be emptied. And you've got your light switch just here for your 3 little spotlights. So you've got a drop down bed at the back, which is a manual drop down bed. So push the button like that and then slide it down, and that's the bed down. You've then got a ladder to go on here, which creates the fourth a double bed, and you can create underneath into a bed as well, so it's like a double bunk. And then make sure that you press the button in and you slide it back up into place. And there's a ladder at the back which just clips onto these fittings here on the front of the bed to gain access on and off your drop down double bed. To make this bed below, all you need to do is lift and slide. There's a leg here, so you do that and put the backrest into the back there. Do the same with this side, so lift, slide it out, drop the leg, backrest into there, and there you have a bed. You can remove these centre cushions as well to give you extra width on the bed out of the lounge. Underneath your lounge at the back beside your cooker, this is your leisure battery in the leisure battery box. So you've got a full-size leisure battery in there, so if you open the box up you'll be able to see that it is a new max 105 amp hour leisure battery there. But always make sure it's in the box and that the box is shut fully. Just as it's a battery, you don't want anything to happen to the battery with the acid and things, so make sure that's tied down and secure on the battery box. And next to the battery box you do have your table leg, which you can slide out, and it can either go in here in the back lounge or it can go in the front. If you're having the table at the front of the vehicle, it'll sit in there. And then the top, which is just in your wardrobe here, this here, just there, that will go on the top of the table to create your table. In the opposite side of the back lounge you do have your power supply unit, which is a Sergeant unit. So here you'll notice that there's a system shutdown button, which is a black button. That will turn off all power to the leisure battery. So if you're parking it up in the winter and you're scared you've left something on, or there's going to be a power drain, or you're wondering why your leisure battery voltage is going down so quick, you can just hit that button and turn off the leisure battery, so nothing can use the leisure battery until you turn that switch back on. You've got your 12-volt fuses, and they're all listed on this sticker here, what does what. So if you're needing a fuse size, they're on there, or you're needing to know why your fuse is blown, carry some spares and just replenish the fuse. And then this side you've got your trip tester, your RCD and your MCBs for your various circuits in the vehicle. You've got your charger here, so this is your charger, and then you've got your boiler, so that's your boiler. So just down the side here is a drain down toggle, so you see it there, it's that yellow toggle just here where my finger is. If you lift that up like so and stand it up on end, it will drain off all the water in the boiler. So you've got to do that in the winter, because if you don't, the water could sit in here, and when we are experiencing cold temperatures, the water could freeze. So you would come in with no power on, no pump on, and you would lift it. So it's sitting like that at the moment. It needs to stand up on end. Leave it up on end during the time you've got the vehicle stood up, not in use. Open all the taps throughout the motorhome. Drain off your fresh and your waste water taps outside. And then when you come to reuse it, obviously shut them, shut the boiler, shut all your taps inside the vehicle. Fill the vehicle with water via a hose. Put the control panel on, put the pump on, and go to the cold side of the tap first. When you're at the cold side of the tap, you'll get a pressurized flow of cold water straight away. When you start to move it to the hot, it'll cough, splutter, and make all sorts of noises because it's pushing the air out because there's no water in here. So you're going to get the air for a couple of minutes until the water transfers into here, and then you get the water out of the boiler. But remember, drain them down because these are expensive and they're not covered under frost. Frost damage isn't covered under the warranty.